think. Okay, Team Grandpa. Alright, welcome to this next game. On Gold Rush, probably the best 4 versus 4 RT map. I love this so much. I even made a 12-player version of it. It's quite crazy and so good, so good, so good this map. So many potentials. Particularly good for random team. In a ranged team, it will be very interesting to see how it plays out. But random team, people will let you get away with a bit more murder. So, yeah. Considering how many gold mines there are on this map, you can imagine how many chimeras you can mass up and how quickly you can get them. I'm doing well, thank you very much there in Integral. Okay, so it's Team All for One, and they're against Team Grandpa, who Team Grandpa hasn't enlightened on it, so I'm just trying to work out which was which. If they kill you, Destiny, how are you typing this message? Are you a ghost? A ghost? It might be. So Lawlier is All for One, and Enlightened will be here in a second. He's going to be the last bloody one. No, he's not, but there he is. Okay, so we've got Pink, All for One. So let's get that set up. Who will win? All for One, and that's Pink versus Blue, which is Team Grand. I like the names. And then I can get that straw poll in there. Boom. Okay, let's go in. I'm making it happen. Thank you there, Toast. Because you guys are 5 minutes behind, you're kind of probably seeing what the teams are just before. So I'm doing the straw poll in time. Technically, I think it works out because I'm actually doing the straw poll ahead of time before the game's even potentially started. Because this game's been going on probably about 3 minutes, 51 seconds. I'm just guessing. So if I put the straw poll out now and you're on a 5-minute delay, won't you technically get the straw poll before the game's even started? So theoretically, this should work. So me slacking in that sense actually works out quite well.
Hi.
Hi. So, Priestess of the Moon, surprise, surprise. Double Engine of War, triple Engine of War actually. But not, yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's a good defense right there, though. I like that. Oh, Priestess of the Moon versus Priestess of the Moon. Yep. Only double Engine of War though for Ally 3, and a cleared expansion for Chemico. So, Tauren Chieftain support there. So Tauren Chieftain, Priestess of the Moon, Auras, Lawliet with the Archmage support and the Blood Mage. So we're going to get some AoE fun, I think, a little bit later. Clearing up their expansions, the human players, the smart thing to do, because humans with an expansion is a strong thing indeed. But Undead nearby should be able to provide a little bit of deeps. Although it's quite difficult for CZG or 2CG to get over here. So I don't think he's going to do that, which he's, in this sense, smartly clearing up the expansion. Hello there, Code. I can't respond to you because I'm an observer. Oh, wow, Module in the perfect place at the perfect time. He could probably pick all of those peasants off. He's definitely got enough wind warp power. So I think he's in a great position. He can even go for that water mentor if he wants to try, but the peasants are the main focus here because this does so much critical damage. Okay, I imagine a crit on that. He still doesn't go for the water mentor. I'm really surprised about that. I know that the peasants are the key here, but he could get the water mentor down and then hit the peasant. But either way, he smartly backs off, heals himself up, clarity potion, and goes for another one. And he'll get there in time to kill off a couple of peasants, I think. So the human players aren't able to get expansions down, at least not very easily. So one Blade Master can basically cripple 2 human expansions, which is very, very important information there. Because, oh, he's not sure whether to engage. The peasant's doing a great dance. He's actually probably going to get to keep them all if he can micro them and block out. Interesting. Module not quite sure how to engage versus these peasants. I would build a farm here as I was going around there. This is working out really. This is a fun. There's probably something else to look at on the map, but right now I'm just kind of enjoying this. Yeah, that's lovely. Well done. Okay, so over here we got an undead pushing his luck versus the powerful Red Creep camp over here. Because this is another great thing about this map. Is there's a lot of exploitable creeps. So Ogre Lord with a couple of Troll Berserkers is tough, but with enough undead imbalance, you can do it, which typically only means 2 Fiends. Lol. So, yeah, undead imbalance is a thing. I might say it from time to time. Just forgive me if you find it irritating. I just like to say it. It's my thing, okay? So let me have it, please. Speaking of undead imbalance, 2CG is really giving Laureate a hard time, as Laureate is trying to defend this expansion, which has managed to go up, and he just needs that Arcane Tower to go up. He's got his buddy Ally 3 to come in here, but that leaves Ally 3 exposed over here on the top side, but he's being backed up by his ally Kimiko. So everyone's kind of in each other's bases trying to keep each other alive, which is great to see. It's the chaos that 4 versus 4 RT can sometimes provide. Yep, Laureate smartly deciding, you know what, I think this harass might become a common thing, so I'm going to get some towers to deal with it, because he's right. If an undead attacks you like that, they're probably not going to stop attacking you until they have no choice other than to leave you alone. Right, another expansion finally being secured. This is really good news for their team, though. Team All for One, I believe. I hope I got that right. Because even though they're getting off to a rough start, those expansions will start bringing in a lot of cash, which is going to make a big difference. And the only counter to that is 1 expansion here for the blue team, which might end up getting pillaged to death by numbers over here. But he's interested in the main base. To be fair, that's a lot of grunts, which is an interesting investment in 4 versus 4 RT. You won't typically see an Orc player go this many grunts, but versus a Night Elf player, it's actually a very, very strong thing indeed. So we'll have to see what comes this way. Oh, undead! But with a bunch of Moonwells in tow, so he's going to be able to... Oh, he's got lots of mana for Shockwave. This is going to actually go down. He's going to get it. He's going to get it. He cannot stop those grunts. They might not be the biggest DPSs in the world, but they are still putting out enough deeps. And down goes a main. It's not an expansion. That's a main. That's a big deal. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Okay. Well, this might have to be his new main. He can definitely tech up from here, and it's going to be more out of the way. But that's... Okay. Laureate deciding that 2 towers wasn't enough and going for 4. He wants the quad tower from Minotaur Taylor TD. Shout out to that. You guys love that tower defense game that I constantly play all the time on stream. Yeah, I don't cheat at it anymore, and you should be happy about that. I actually tried to do it properly and I still can't win. Okay, so we've got the forces of undead and orc, the horde, combining against the humans, the alliance, of which Laureate really wants those other 2 towers to go up now, so I totally understand it. And that's pretty good timing for the most part. They'll be up, and he'll be able to help defend this. Oh, look at that surround. Defend as well on the footman. Is that a proper surround? No! The Tauren Chieftain manages to get out of it, and the Archmage under the coil pressure of the undead with plenty more coils to come. This is not easy for Laureate, but he has got the towers up, so that's the main thing. The Siege Fiends will be able to do a little bit of damage to buildings on the outside, but they won't provide that much, providing the peasants are able to repair. Oh! Module Descent to Town Portal out to defend his own base versus a Huntress harass. If he's got Ensnare, he could definitely pick off 1 or 2 Huntresses. The Huntresses might be picking him off. No, decide what you're going to do. More expansions? Well, I think that might have been a mistake, that, to be fair, engaging on that one. I don't think that was intentional. Is this going to... Okay, there are 5 Acolytes. I was about to ask if that's going to trigger anyone's OCD. But we've managed to get there. Ballisters from Heki. Actually very effective here. And the map is laid out in such a way that it's not too much of a risk to have ballisters, because as long as you see your opponent teleporting in, you can move out. And you've got these kind of sort of blockades where you can provide support for your ballisters, especially with this many Huntresses. You can sort of block the enemy from getting to them, so they're actually a pretty respectable unit to get in this situation. You wouldn't normally see ballisters be produced, but on this map, in this occasion, they actually make a lot of sense. So we've got the double expansions really set up, good to go from these 2, so they'll definitely be bringing in the cash. Heiki must have got this expansion. Yeah, he's got his main back up. He hasn't teched with this, but typically Night Elf players, as we've seen, the team player Night Elves will just focus on tier 1 for a long time. Huntresses, and even in this case ballisters, because ballisters aren't tier 2, they're tier 1. That's why they're the crappiest siege units, but that's because you can get them at tier 1. Otherwise they'd be, you know, really bad. Oh, okay. That's triple fiends down there. Numbers, you did good, boy. Mr. Pink, as he's known in the gangster world, but may have pushed his luck a little bit too much there, but I think he wanted revenge. The ensnares from both raiders on another raider. Sharing ensnares out. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. And ally free sees everything. Okay. Tier 3 here from Chemico. Well, I dare say, I'm scared to say what I predict because it's almost never going to be right, but for some reason I feel like you got to go triple racks Griffins in a situation like this. It needs to be done. Especially when you're against Orc as well. Loads of casters from Lawlier. Really, really favouring those casters. Wow. I mean, one base down is huge. Bear in mind that this is Lawlier's team and he's a very respectable player in the Warcraft 3 community, and I suppose the rest of his team are definitely very strong as well. So that's a big deal here. And the expansions do match. Almost, if it wasn't for Lawlier having his bottom left expansion just about to go up. So he could compensate for one of his allies being down. With enough expansions, enough gold, he could probably be able to build enough units, but he's going to need the production facilities to go alongside it. And mass casters isn't it. Mass casters are support, they're not carry. Oh my goodness, this is another base going down. Numbers! Repair your main! Okay. That is rough. That is 2 main bases down. Bear in mind that this is round 3, I believe, so that means a best of 1 situation, so there's no chance for a comeuppance. You've got to make this game count. So, Team Grandpa, which is the blue team, I believe, are looking very, very strong right now, considering they've just wiped out effectively 2 bases. And down goes an expansion. Why not? Do that as well. Chuck that into the mix. So let's have a look and see what else is going on the base. 55 food. So not being shy on going past the 50 food tax bracket. 27 food though for Enlightened. So he's lost a few fiends. As we saw, the triple fiend down. And module moving up to tier 3 soon. Double bestiary. Just needs a bit more wood. And now, if these raiders get away with... Well, they can't do that much, surely. But that's a lovely shockwave. I like that. Good potential there, considering he can get multiples off. If he was level 5, he'd be able to really do some awesome damage. But he's going to be scared off here as the undead encroach upon him with the coils. Oh! Okay. It's fun to watch. It's not fun to play against, though. I can guarantee you that. I will get salty against undead because of that very thing that you just saw there. It's one of the most insulting things ever. It's just someone just chucking a coil. It just feels like one of the laziest ways that someone can play, and one of the easiest ways to be effective at the same time. That's why I find undead such a pain. Great position to block off Chemico here, because knights are a powerful unit, but if they can't find a good position here, which they won't versus those Ancients of War, they effectively become relatively useless here, especially since Huntresses are slightly ranged. Undead won't choose to push through that, not with that many units. Testing out another expansion, which he's going to find is even harder to push through. Lawlier's towers are actually providing very good support for his economy. Now we're moving into... Oh, flat cannons. It makes sense. They've got 1 orc on the team with double bestiary. Bats are obviously a big deal versus gyrocopters, but night elf and undead don't do too well versus mass gyrocopters. So it really comes down to how well you can keep on top of the orc and stop those bats from being effective. Should they be built? Because right now they ain't being built. But he doesn't need to build them just yet. This is really, really difficult for All for One, because that's Team Pink, by the way. The longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to get, because they can't compete with the economy that the other team have. And the tech that economy is going to now be fueling, which is frostworms, as we can see. That ain't easy to fight against. Yeah, gyrocopters, that's why. But they don't do great versus lich and fiends, of which there are still plenty. something has to happen for Team All for One, and it has to happen fast. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm speaking as though, yeah, you know, go make it happen. I'm telling you, it's not easy. I don't want to sort of like be down on the situation. It's very rough, but something has to happen. And I think Numbers here is trying to make those things happen, but unfortunately, you never attack an undead base. He's forced out as his other buddy gets in, so there's just this kind of... Oh no, yep. How many casters will you lose just before it goes down? That's the best you can get out of that situation. That could have even been worse, believe it or not. The map isn't allowing the teams to group up in a 4v4 situation very easily. The map's segregating people into 1 versus 1s, 2 versus 2s, which isn't really what All for One want all that much, unless they can get effective harasses with the Tauren Chieftain Raiders, which didn't really quite work out. The attempt was there, but the execution just didn't quite pay, you know, just didn't quite pay up. Knights are an interesting unit to mass here for Chemico, because you won't often see people invest that much gold into knights, because typically they're very easily countered by heavy air, of which there isn't that much, so I guess they make sense for now. But they don't really gel that well with any other units, but me slagging them off, you know, they're still pulling their weight in the current situation, but I was expecting to see Griffins or something like that. Oh my goodness. That's a huge caster army there. Lauliet favouring the tier 2 human, as a smart human would do, since tier 2 human is one of the strongest things in the game. But that many... Oh yeah, I like it. Those flat cannons doing quite a lot of damage there. Bear in mind that Frostworms have 1350 health, so when you see them take a big chunk of health out like they just did there, that's a lot of health they're going through very quickly. And this push is great for Gyrocopters, because if one thing Gyrocopters are good at is chasing units down, so it allows them to get a couple of free kills potentially. Oh, the shockwaves are gorgeous here. I'm not seeing many stomps, but shockwaves are just as pleasant to see, but you don't get the effective noise. The Gyrocopters maybe overstepping their welcome, but what else are they going to do? It makes sense to just chuck them in there and see what they can do versus the Frostworms, whilst the rest of the army at the back tries to push forth in an undead base. A shockwave to rule them all. Yes, very nice indeed. So we've got effective fight on the east hand side here as Team Grandpa try to stay on their legs and not lose their Blade Master. Oh no, down he goes. The Tauren Chieftain was probably taking the focus of the shop, I reckon, there at that time, which allowed him to lose his Blade Master from lack of concentration. The Bat's taking down all the Gyrocopters, leaving the Frostworms to have a little bit more dominance on the battlefield. They're very effective against the Knights in this situation. The Flame Strike being pretty good versus Huntresses, but as long as they move quickly enough, they should be able to avoid this. This is one hell of a freaking battle going on here, but I've still got to give it to Team Grandpa, even though they are getting their butts kicked here. As long as they've got keep those Frostworms alive, and they... Oh no, the Frostworms being polymorphed effectively makes them completely redundant, so this really does change the situation. Those casters, very important there from Lauliet. But how well can he fight versus the Arc of the Undead and the auras that are provided by the range units and the power of the Lich and the Death Knight? This might just be a little bit too much, even though Lauliet is really pulling his weight here. The Flame Strike going off there does help to take down, well, a lot of the health from the Fiends. Lovely use. But the... I think the second... Is that the Owl? Ally 3? Yep. But Ally 3 is on the other team, so who the hell's covering that? I don't know, but someone's able to see it. I don't know, it was a shade, it was disappearance, but someone's able to bloody see. So there's so many owls, it's got to belong to someone, right? Anyway, because the Gyrocopters were part of the Pinks team, so that would make sense if they were the ones that killed it. But yeah, we can see Team Grandpa just about staying alive long enough in that situation to sort of defend it to the point where that should probably be GG, I would say. There's expansions, and I love this little desperation move here to try to stay in the game here from Chemico and make sure that Heki doesn't push his luck. Considering Heki lost his main, he lost his expansion, but he's taken multiple expansions now as, you know, a price to pay. Okay, so this is starting to get crazy now. Team Grandpa with some serious tier 3 got your Taurens. Bats obviously going to deal with the gyrocopters if they're still being produced. So that's aware now. It's just a case of messing up everyone together for one final big fight, because I think it's difficult for All For One to come down or to get out of this situation alive, basically. But that last fight, you know, to be quite frank, under the circumstances, fighting in enemy territory with probably a smaller army, they really did sort of like show you what a bit of micro and such can do. But will it really do enough versus numbers that economy will provide with the multiple expansions and base dominance that Team Grandpa, the blue team, have? Oh no. One slow at that sort before she goes down. Quick, chuck a couple more slows. The Archmage hanging in there with the health potion. The nice use of the Flame Strike and Mana Drain combination there. That helps to turn the tide of battle very much so. The Priest of the Moon will provide a lot of mana, but since she only rarely uses the Owl Scout, and she's going to have the Aura, so she'll have a lot of mana. But wow, the Flame Strike really piercing through those Huntresses. These Blood Mages are actually doing a great job. I tell you, their team, they're clearly so strong on the micro front and the small army size, but I think unfortunately the way the mechanics of this game have worked out, what with the effective harass from Heke and his ballistas, just made the difference really early enough on in the game, where they could critically destroy those bases and probably just win through economy. But you know, credit where it's due. All For One are really giving a good shot to try and stay in the game as much as possible. But the numbers are just growing here for Team Grandpa. And the Blood Mage goes down. No more funny shenanigans from you. One more Blood Mage for some of that. But the numbers, look at this. The Tauren coming in there as well. It's just adding insult to injury. So many Gyrocopters though. Come on. The Coil. Huge heal on the Frostworm there. Oh man. Undead Imbalance. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Make sure to thumbs up and all that kind of stuff, and stay tuned for the next one. See you there. Undead Imbalance indeed.